Hello, it's me. I went to France. It was really great. I didn't need to be anxious. But if you've traveled internationally or to France, you probably know that. It was really good. I ate so much good food. I ate a baguette and I thought of you. Let's get back to the book, baby. So chapter 16, they are, again, wandering through the forest.
Yeah, they're just on a nice little hike.
Yeah, just a nice little hike. Tobias, as Hawk still, of course, is riding on one of Jarahami's horns. And he is, luckily, with the two of them there, none of the nighttime forest predators are approaching them, which makes a lot of sense.
But there is a little skunk.
Yeah, Ket Hallpack almost steps on a skunk, and Tobias is like, oh my god, no, nobody move. They're gonna stink. They're gonna stink. Tobias is like, listen, I'm starving. Should we eat? And they're like, yeah, we'll eat. And then Jarahami walks over to a tree, takes one of his elbow blades, and starts slashing off tree bark and eating it. And Tobias is like, what? Is this... is that what you eat? And they're like, yeah, totally. And he's like, is that what you eat on your home world? And they're like, yeah, totally. We just, we eat trees. We eat bark from trees.
Yeah, like what else would our blades be for?
Yeah, exactly. I do like this little moment where he's like, do you eat all of the trees on Earth, like all of them? And they're like, well, the trees on our home world are better. And then Jeremy and Ket Hallpack seem to think they've insulted him. So no,
yeah,
Earth trees are
backtrack. Good too. Yeah, it's so sweet because they're like, they're not just like thoughtless. They are very considerate of his feelings on Earth trees.
They're really sweet. Tobias is like, okay, is this why you have blades on your body? Is to get the bark from trees? And they're like, yeah, we've got these ones on our elbows and wrists. We've got for straight cuts, for taking the bark off, and then the ones at our knees we have for the bottoms of trees. All of these are specified for harvesting tree bark. And Tobias is like, they aren't weapons to kill prey and defend yourself? And Jarahami says, Hork-Bajir have no enemy, no prey. Hork-Bajir not kill. Yerk kill. Yerk kill Andalite. Andalite kill Yerk. Hork-Bajir die.
Which is just about one of the saddest lines in this whole book.
Yes! Yes!
The Hork-Bajir aren't built for violence. They are herbivores who harvest bark from their home trees. And they are just caught in this tug of war, and regardless of who they fight for or who they don't fight for, they're still the ones that are probably dying most in this conflict.
Yes, this floored me. This is so capital T tragic. Tobias's narration towards the end of the chapter says, they were just victims, just a species that had the bad luck to look fearsome. And now they were caught up in a war between Yerks and the rest of the free species of the galaxy. I thought of all the battles we've had with the Hork-Bajir. They had come close to killing me more than once. I had hated and feared them. Now I just felt sorry for them. This is so sad. This is so sad. Every moment the Hork-Bajir have been mentioned until now, including by Axe, by the way, they have been discussed as just living weapons. That they are just so dangerous and so scary. And they're just normal creatures. They have no predators and no prey. They're just normal. That's just how they're built. Oh, it hurts. It's so sad.
And it's kind of an interesting flip of like this trope you see in like children's media sometimes where it's like the cool badass main character fights a bunch of evil enemy things and like they make it so that like sometimes they're like aliens or robots or random spirit things that can despawn, so it's like it's not bad if the main character like quote unquote kills them in like pursuit of whatever it is they want for the episode. But in this case, like, yeah, the Animorphs have probably killed a lot of Hork-Bajir at this point, and it's like, oh yeah, those were just as much people as like all the human controllers you've been wringing your hands over, and now you have to live with that knowledge as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, if anything, the Hork-Bajir are a substantially more peaceful species than humans. Like, they're even arguably more in need of protection, and they've just been cutting through them like paper. Oh.
Yep.
So, chapter 17, Tobias is looking around for food, and he is just doing an absolute piss poor job. It's night, things are rough. And he is so distracted because he keeps thinking about the possibility of having his human body back. He is like lamenting how easy it was as a human to just, if he was hungry, to just like go get a bowl of cereal, which he simply cannot do now. But he also thinks that he would never want to be without the morphing power, that like it would be too much a cost to just be human. And I put in my notes that if he goes back to being a human who can also morph, that I'm pretty sure we'd just be like right back in the situation that we're in now, like I don't
Yeah.
trust I don't trust Tobias's decision making, and emotional impulsivity and self-destructive tendencies to not get stuck as a Nothlet again.
Yeah, and it's like if he does go back to human, it's like literally what situation is he going to go back to? Because like it seems like almost no humans have noticed he's gone. It's like whoever's care he was in at this point, they probably just thought he like got shuffled back to whatever other relative was supposed to take care of him. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like it's not like he's going to just show up on random relatives' doorstep again and like submit himself to that life again after living as a hawk for, months at this point. And, he's probably not going to go into like any sort of like foster care situation because, I mean, those are probably some of like the most vulnerable people in this area. So, like,
Oh
easy
yeah.
picking for Yerks, obviously. So
Oh
it's like,
yeah. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Whoa. Oh, that's so sad. That's so true.
mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah.
So, like, outside of like one of the other Animorphs managing to, convince their family to adopt this random kid who's been in and out of weird systems and like apparently missing for months, it's like, what are you going to do even if you do get this sort of life you had back?
Yeah. Yeah, there's really no returning to what used to be normal. And seeing him grapple with that is really interesting. And he does like pretty immediately get a moment where he can be grateful for both sides of himself because he gets bobcatted. There's a bobcat. Uh-oh. But while most hawks would probably be taken down by a bobcat, he has the advantage of having a human mind, um, which means he knows how to use tools. So he sticks the bobcat in the eye with a stick, um, which is, yeah, it works. It works, but he doesn't fully get away because then there's a taxon, and then he's running away from that. And then there's an army of Hork-Bajir. Again, it's broad daylight again. They will do literally anything to get these Hork-Bajir back. Everything is a mess again. My first note in chapter 18 is in all caps, free or dead. This rules. this this becomes like the battle cry for getting these Hork-Bajir free is free or dead. Those are their only options, and they won't go with any others.
Yeah, I wrote down the same option of free or dead, and then after that I wrote, I see why you like them, Tobias.
Yeah. They're so good. This rule is so hard. So Tobias is back up in the air, and then he sees a peregrine falcon, and luckily he can tell it's Jake because they would be keeping their space otherwise. And Tobias is thrilled because of all of the taxons and Hork-Bajir and human controllers who are swarming. And Jake says that the others are with them. Axe is on the ground. Marco is up in the air above both of them. They are here to come help. And at this point, Cassie is like, hey, Tobias, you know how you keep having thoughts that aren't yours and are suspiciously helpful, and you keep being in the right place at the right time despite not intending to? Is that maybe? And Tobias is like, yeah, it's the Elemist. And she's like, okay, yeah, it's the Elemist, it's the Elemist. Okay.
Just making sure we're all on the same page here.
Yeah. And Rachel brings up that the Elemist plays games with people, and Tobias's narration says, I thought of the Elemist's promise to me. Me as the reader going, that's not what happened. Then he says, to give me what I most wanted. But when I recalled the conversation, I couldn't exactly remember an actual promise. I felt a chill in my bones. Had the Elemist really promised to make me human again? No!
No,
He didn't say any of those things! Not a one of those things is a thing that he said! Why would you blindly trust the Elemist of all people, asterisk? Like, oh, Tobias, no! And this begins a sort of hero's journey for me as a reader, where I have a little character arc for myself. In this book, I shockingly side with the Elemist. He is right. We'll get to it, but I think that he actually winds up being phenomenally generous in this book. Mm-hmm. And I think that Tobias is entitled to nothing. He didn't agree. The Elemist didn't agree to any of this. This is all Tobias writing fanfic of his own life of what happened here. And he is aware of it, but not aware enough. And the Elemist made no promises. And I think that if he gave nothing else and they still did everything that he is asking for, he is well within his rights, unfortunately, even though he should be doing more because he has more power. He did not agree to do any more. And if anything, if they keep going along with what he's saying without concrete promises, they are enabling his behavior here. So I'm not with Tobias here. I don't think the Elemist owes Tobias anything. I hate saying that, but it's true.
Like, you also got to think of it from the perspective of, like, this is probably something the Animorphs would eagerly do anyway. They just didn't have, like, I mean, aside from, like, the Elemist initiating the, like, first runaway of Jara and Ket, it's like the rest of this is what the Animorphs would have tried to do anyway, but, like,
yes,
he is giving them extra information, you know, in slightly roundabout way of, like, Here is the Hork-Bajir who are escaping. Here is where you can take them, that they will be safe. Here is some of the dangers that are coming after you at this point. So he is like also really helping like their mission. It's just like the fact that he interfaced to give them this chance at all is like why Tobias is mad about it in the first place, I think. It's just like this idea that he couldn't completely control what they were going to do. It was something that feels foisted on them.
Yes. 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 And Tobias goes so far as to tell Rachel, because Rachel is checking in with him in like one of these one-on-one thought speak. She's like, "Are you good?" And he tells her that the Ellimist says he'll make him human again.
Mm.
So now is this not only a thing that he has solidified in his mind is something that he has promised, but now he's telling others, which means there's now this like added expectation. Oh,
Yeah, they really play hot potato the whole time with this idea that Tobias can be human again, because originally it was like, yeah, the Andalites will come by and they can fix your morphing problem. And it's like, nope, nobody ever
nope.
said that. And now it's
Nobody
like
said that at all.
the Elemist can make me human again and able to morph and like be around you guys. And it's like, nope, nope, nope. Nobody said
Nope.
that.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that at all. Now, I do believe that the Ellimist could do that if he wanted to. However, that is not what was agreed upon. Nothing was agreed upon. Yeah, as soon as, like, immediately when they were like, "It's okay, Tobias, the Andalites will come back and they'll save us and they'll turn you back into a human," I was like, there's no, like, the part of, they're the ones who made the rules. They're the ones who have figured out, like, you only get 2 hours or then you're stuck forever. Like, don't y'all think that Axe would have said something? And I know, like, one of the things that they've talked about is that the reason Tobias hasn't asked Axe if this is even possible is because he doesn't really want to know. Like, he just really doesn't want to look at these things inside himself. But I do think that it is a wild assumption to make that this was ever even possible. Nobody's ever said anything even close to this.
Yeah, he literally has no idea what the Ellimist is capable of and if he is able to directly interfere with their lives on this level.
Yes. Yes. So at this point in reading, I'm like furious at everybody. I'm furious at Tobias. I'm furious at the Ellimist. And I am furious at myself with kind of siding with the Ellimist. But it's like a very fulfilling kind of fury. I'm having a great time. So they get back to the Hork-Bajir and they have this debate about whether or not they are going to show the Hork-Bajir their human forms or if they are going to stay morphed. And Marco points out, like, if the Hork-Bajir see them in their human forms and they happen to get yerked again, like if this plan doesn't go well, then the Yerks will have the knowledge that they are not Andalites, that they are humans, and they will know what they look like. This is like a huge deal. And this is where, so they start basically explaining all of this to the two Hork-Bajir, and this is where they say, Jarahami is pointing at the scar on his head from when he busted that shit open, and he says, "No more Yerk here, free," or "No Jarahami, no Ket Hallpack, only free." And Ket Hallpack says, "Free or dead." And yeah, this is when Rachel says, "I see why you like them," which is so good. So they are saying, either we're free forever, or y'all have to kill us, we have to kill ourselves. Like, we are not going back. And that shit is so sick. It is so good. It's so brave. It's so cool, especially for these creatures who are not built for battle. Like they are in some sense, but they're also not. And because they've had yerks in their brains, because they've been, controllers, I'm sure that they have done violence in these bodies. But there is a very distinct difference between doing violence of your own accord and doing violence because there's a yerk in your head. So for them to really sign up for this is, I think, really brave and cool and strong, and not the kind of bravery that we usually see ascribed to creatures that aren't predators. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We also get them laughing, which is just cute. The Hork-Bajir just get to laugh because they see that all of their allies are humans, and they're like, what the hell? Are you for real? And then they're just laughing. It's really great.
Yeah, it again must be great for the Animorphs to like actually be able to like expand their social circle in some weird way of like people who are aware of what they are and what they're doing, because up to this point it has been pretty much entirely just the six of them, like literally no one else that they're able to contact regularly knows who they are or what they're doing. And now there's like two whole other people who like validate what they're going through. And yeah, it must be this weird sort of relief that like in some way it's not just us right now.
Yeah, and there is sort of this like solidarity. We're getting more instances of people being the only people in their situation. We've got Tobias, who is the only Nothlet around. We've got Axe, who's the only free Andalite around. And we have the Animorphs, who are the only humans doing what they're doing around. And now we have these two Hork-Bajir, who are the only free Hork-Bajir known to exist. So to have this level of solidarity and camaraderie, and sort of like, if anybody slips up here, it's mutually assured destruction. Which Axe is not thrilled about. He does not love this plan. But it does seem like such a lovely relief to just be upfront about who they are and what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So chapter 19, they are hiking and they are going to the valley that the Ellimist showed Tobias. Just going on a big hike up a mountain. Tobias, talking about the Ellimist, says, did the Ellimist have some clever plan? Probably not. The Ellimist seemed to think he had to do the absolute minimum. He didn't mind sticking his little finger into the time stream, but he didn't exactly jump in all the way. I had the feeling we were on our own. I fucking hate this guy, man. Like, I side with him here, but I hate this guy. He is so powerful, dude. Come on. Come on. But alas, they are on their own up on this hike.
Yeah, a fun interaction between Rachel and Marco, where Marco is just like clearly not happy about having to be like human person hiking, and Rachel asks, "Are you going to whine the whole way?" Yes, Marco confirmed. That's the plan. Whine the whole way. Which, definitely made up in my mind for like a bit of his, joking sexism earlier. It's like,
yes.
Yeah, that's just the kind of guy he is. Whine the whole way.
Me too, Marco. I hate a hike. I hate him so bad. I'm an inside kind of guy. I'm an indoors kind of guy. I'll go look at a tree, but you try to take me camping? I live in a house on purpose. So they're all hungry. So Tobias looks around to start hunting for himself. He sees a mouse and he's gonna go get that mouse. And he gets it. And then unfortunately, he hears helicopters.
Yeah, it feels like in true Tobias fashion, he lets his guard down for like 2 seconds. Terrible
Literally.
things happen.
Yes, exactly. So he is flying back to the others super quick, but he got quite a bit of distance away, so he's not even sure if his thought speak is hitting them. He is telling them, get off the trail, morph. The Yerks are here with helicopters. You need to go. The helicopter, he's like getting away from them, but they're fast, and he keeps getting like kind of swept up in like the tornadoes, more or less, that they're making with their big propellers. And then he hits a branch and he hears a snap. And that was his bone in his wing. And he falls to the ground. He is a flightless bird. This is such a vulnerable position. And then he says, I saw the end coming for me. Not a bobcat, not a taxon, or a hork-bajir, or a yerk of any kind. Just a humble, ordinary, everyday raccoon. Tobias, I don't know if this boy has ever had a good day, but
Yeah, it's so funny going through this book and like Tobias constantly being like down on himself, like all of my friends are constantly in danger and I'm always left behind in safety because I can't morph. And it's like you live in constant fear of like other hawks and owls and bobcats, and now a raccoon is dragging you off to eat you. How are you safe?
yes. Yes, yes, yes. This boy needs to catch a break, and he is so positive that that is going to happen for him, and that was not agreed upon. But I must give us a quick diversion in chapter 20 because the day that I read this chapter of this book, I also read a fascinating article that wound up being directly relevant. Sort of. Directly relevant in a way that makes sense in my ADHD brain. So this raccoon is about to eat him, which he knows because the raccoon is using water to like feel over his bird body before eating him. He's looking for imperfections, basically, to pick off. So here's something crazy that happened. To date, we have never had any inkling that animals other than humans do anything to flavor their food, specifically to flavor their food. We know that they do things like use water to clean them or what have you before eating them. But then a scientific paper in Current Biology titled Innovative Flavoring Behavior in Goffin's Cockatoos was released. And I read about this in Defector, which is an incredible blog by the ex-employees of the gutted, what was their Deadspin of the gutted Deadspin team went on to make their own independent publication called Defector. And this this paper is discussed because apparently there is a flavor innovation being tracked in these cockatoos. There's 9 cockatoos who all started dragging noodles through blueberry flavored soy yogurt before eating it. They did tests with like plain yogurt and other things to see like, is there any other reason they could be doing this? So in this piece, which was written by Sabrina Imbler, she writes, scientists have studied 5 possible explanations for dunking, as in dunking one food in another: cleaning, flavoring, drowning prey, transporting liquid, or soaking until the food is swallowable. Only one non-human species has been previously observed dunking with the express purpose of flavoring. In the 1960s, a trend-setting Japanese macaw would wash her sweet potatoes in the ocean to salt them. But these cockatoos have been dunking their noodles, dragging them through specifically blueberry flavored soy yogurt during breakfast. And and they tested against like non-flavored yogurt and everything. No, the cockatoos love the combination of their noodles and blueberry soy yogurt. The writer then does go on to try it for herself, which I think is very funny. But there's like a full breakdown and data and what have you. I will obviously link this in the show notes. This might be a Patreon only kind of guy, but I just found this delightful. I love food so much, and I love knowing that other species care about flavor.
Yeah, honestly, that kind of sounded like halfway towards like ad copy for a new blueberry flavored something at like Dunkin' Donuts or whatever. It's like, it's a flavor innovation. Even the birds are getting into it.
Dude, somebody should use this for their ad copy. Get on this, guys. So, Tobias knows this raccoon is going to eat him. He is just screaming no internally. And the Elemist pops up and he's like, hey, so you asked me for payment. Do you want that right now? And Tobias is like, yes. Oh my God, please.
That is such a dick move of the Elemist. Hey, do you busy right now? You want the thing I was promising you, or like you having a fun time here? Yeah. Like, what do you think, dude?
So bad. He sucks so bad. So the Elemist just says it is done, and Tobias says, "What's done? Nothing is done, you lunatic. I'm still a bird." And the Elemist says, "Of course." So he says the Andalite gave you power, use it. So Tobias realizes he was not turned back into a human. He gets his morphing ability back, which seemingly he is the only Nothlet who has ever regained the ability to morph.
This is like a clear deviation from like their understanding of how morphing and being a Nothlet works. Like, it seems like there is like a little leeway at the 2-hour mark about whether you can turn back or not. But, he has been a hawk for months at this point. As far as we are aware, there is no conceivable scientific way for you to get your morphing powers back.
Yeah, and the Elemist even kind of alludes to this, that like Tobias is the key in doing something new, unique and new. The way that the Elemist talks about it is almost as though this might not necessarily be something that only applies to Tobias in the future. We don't know anything about that, but there is this sort of like sense of gravity and of change, which relates to the title for once, which is awesome, that Tobias is like the cornerstone of. And it's important. I was kind of like puzzling this through. So he's not a human, and he's also distinctly not a hawk. At this point, his main form is a hawk, but his identity remains more than anything else Nothlet. He is now, like, in my head at least, he is now really solidified as a completely third thing, a Nothlet. Like, he is really not completely of either of the species he is caught between. And Tobias is pissed. He says, he's furious, and the Elemist says, it's what you wanted. which we know the Ellimist knows because he's all powerful and he can read Tobias's mind. Like, this is what Tobias wanted, whether or not he realizes that. And Tobias says, I wanted to be human again. You liar, you cheat. I wanted to be human. To which I say, again, you did not say that. You said you know what I want. Like, he is being so generous. The Ellimist is being so generous right now. The only reason he is doing this, I am sure, is one, well, I guess the only two reasons. One, because Tobias is some sort of cornerstone of some sort of big change. But two, straight up, it's because the Ellimist needs him right now. But he's still being so generous.
Yeah, can't really have your most important game piece getting eaten by a raccoon. That would be...
Yeah, it does throw a wrench in the plans.
Probably a little embarrassing for, like, his prestige.
So the Ellimist bails out of there before Tobias can yell at him for doing him a favor more. And he is going to throw a fit, but then he's like, oh, right, I'm about to get eaten. So he realizes that he has to morph, but he doesn't have any of his previous morphs. He has the ability, but nothing else. So he takes the moment to concentrate and acquire the DNA for the raccoon. This is very new for him, in a way that it's not like for the other Animorphs, because he had only ever morphed two creatures before this, which was the hawk, and a cat, which he just basically did to, like, practice morphing, more or less. I think that he got the cat morph, like, early in the first book, like, while Jake was getting the Homer morph, Tobias got the morph of a cat just to, like, practice morphing.
This is our actual first time seeing a morph from his perspective, because
yes!
Yeah, in the other book he narrated before this, he was obviously trapped in Hawk that whole time, and we didn't get his perspective anytime that, he was able to morph. So, like, this is our first time being able to see what morphing feels like for him.
Yeah, that's so wild. 13 books in, and we're just getting the first morph from his POV. That's crazy. It's so good. It's so good. So he's morphing the raccoon, and the raccoon is so slow. Is so slow, and he hates it. He's like, oh my god, I do not have time for this. I'm just waddling around on these four little legs. And all the while, of course, he is like having this internal conflict with himself where he's like grateful to be able to morph and to be able to like be back on missions in a more tangible way. But he's pissed that he's not human again. He wants his human form to be his main form. Again, I still really don't think that that's true. But that's what he thinks that he wants. So then he realizes because he has the morphing power back and he morphed out of the hawk body because of his broken arm and he was about to get eaten, he doesn't want to be the raccoon anymore because it's too slow. So this is the first time he morphs back into the hawk because the broken bone obviously doesn't come across with the DNA. And he morphs back, and the way that the chapter ends is, and slowly I became myself again. Tobias, you do not want to be human. You do not want to be human again.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. You have to reckon with it, Tobias, please. So as a hawk, chapter 21, he is now flying back to the others. He's so tired, but his wing isn't broken. He is seeing the helicopters. The Dracon beams are firing at, like, literally everything right now. He is watching birds in the sky get shot and roasted in midair. All of the trees in the underbrush, total fire. There's a forest fire everywhere. Are they gonna get smoked out? We don't know. Tobias is yelling at the Ellimist. And then my notes say, but he knows that bitch doesn't give a shit. he's like yelling to be like, this is impossible. You've given me an impossible task. Which is true, and it does make me mad at the Elemist, but again, I do think he's being generous. So he sees Axe finally. He reunites with the others, and even Rachel knows that she is not going to be able to fight her way out of this. They are screwed. Jarahimi is seemingly trying to convince himself that he is still free. I can't imagine how scared he must be right now as somebody who like just made it out, just got his freedom back, just got his wife back, and now the only people who have thought that they could help him, even they are like, there's no way out of this.
Yeah, it's definitely like a scary situation to see the Animorphs in because, again, they are used to be like the ones initiating conflict and or stopping the Yeerks at what they're doing, and like them being hunted is terrifying because when the Yeerks actually like mount a force against them, they are clearly like way beyond their capability to actually deal with that. And it's just like the thought that this could be what they were dealing with, like they could be dealing with on a day-to-day basis, just like 6 children against a literal army instead of like tiny guerrilla missions to like thwart their plans. It's just like, oh, this is actually so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, this is easily the most difficult position they've been in. And that is saying quite a lot. I think the only thing that comes close is in a previous book, it's the one with the puppy androids. And they get out of that situation because the main puppy android that they're hanging out with, it detonates a nuclear bomb for them. So, but even still, like, they could have potentially gotten out of that, but this is so different. And Tobias is the one who realizes that they won't give up until Jara and Ket are dead. And he knows that Rachel has already morphed Jara. So they are going to morph both of them and play dead, while their 2 real ones get to escape, using this again as a distraction. And Tobias mentions a deep ravine and that they should be able to reach it. And he says that he's going to need Marco in Gorilla Morph. And Jake is like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, anyway, we also need somebody to morph Ket. Jake offers to do it. And Tobias says, no, I'll do it this time. They're all very confused.
As they should be.
As they should be. And Rachel realizes, like, oh, this is what the Elemist gave you. And she's immediately furious because she thinks that the Elemist promised to make him human again because that's what Tobias said. Which, again, is not what the Elemist ever said at any point. And they all seem very distraught about this. Meanwhile, me in my notes, I'm like, am I missing something? Because I think he's being incredibly generous right now. I think y'all should all be super grateful for this.
Yeah, I mean, I am sure most of them probably don't have the assumption of like Tobias's inner turmoil. Like, honestly, all of them would probably be wanting to get back to their normal forms if that was an option for them. If they had been Nothlitted, they would want to be made human or Andalite again so they could like go back to the status quo of how they were living. But like, even at this point, they probably don't have any concept that like the Hawk form at this stage in his life is infinitely preferable for Tobias. This is a much better situation than he has ever had in his life.
Yeah, he has like actual autonomy and actual ability to take care of himself, like, and freedom and power and strength and courage, all these things that he's never had. Like, he did not want to be living with his like step uncle or some shit, you know? He was so over it. And as an actual child in America, there is very little you can do to take care of yourself in a way that is actually safe when you don't have guardians who are doing that for you. There's like no resources. Um People think that there are, and that there are like ways to get kids out of scary bad family situations, even if it's, I don't want to say just neglect, but you know, like even people like to think that there are safe places for children even if their home life isn't like actively dangerous, let alone that there are safe places for children who their home life is actively dangerous, and neither is true. So, like you were saying about the foster system, like uh, kids in the foster system are some of the most vulnerable people in the world, not only during a Yeerk invasion, but just in general. So, yeah, I can totally imagine being a hawk is the better choice here by a mile. If I were in Tobias's shoes as somebody who grew up in a very unsafe home situation, this would be no question. I wouldn't even care about getting the human body back. Well, I might. Again, I am an inside kind of guy. I do like the inside. But I get it. I get it. And all of this from his perspective is just very fascinating. And I think it's just a great culmination of his pointed lack of internalization and processing of what it is that he wants. Like, I totally buy that he doesn't want to think that this is what he wanted. I think that he'll get there, but you know, like we were saying before, like I think it makes total sense, especially a kid at his age, to no matter what would happen here, like be able to kind of make the blame for this exterior so that he can process it better. That like he knows to some degree that this is what he wanted. If nothing else, even if he doesn't know that inside of himself, he knows that the Elemist can read his mind. And that he did not say out loud that he wanted to be human again. So he must know to some degree that this is what he wanted. And being able to put the blame for this outcome on somebody else, even if just temporary, and to process it that way, and to sort of direct his grief and his anger that way, I just think it's such an elegant way to kind of end this background floating conflict of Tobias not wanting to even think about what he actually wants.
Yeah, and it's kind of also an interesting way of affirming his humanity. Like, all these books you've been going through concerned that, you know, he is losing that part of himself. And like, I think that thought is like also on the top of his mind here throughout these books in a different way. Like, you thought he might be losing his human mind over time.
Yeah.
He has been worried he is losing his humanity or doesn't have it because of his inability to do like basic human actions like sleep in a bed or sit on a chair or eat eggs and cold cereal for breakfast. But at the same time, he has like a very complex range of emotions about his whole situation. He almost never considers like human emotionality as like an aspect of being human because you know, I think if he did like realize that, then he would realize his complex feelings about this whole situation would like make him more human than like having arms and legs. And but it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, at this point he's probably still trying to convince himself in some sense that he needs the human body in order to still be human. But, you know, this is just like a very human quandary he's still dealing with. Like, a hawk probably wouldn't care if it was hawk or human, but he does. He is just going through that, and that probably makes him more human than anything.
Absolutely. That's such a good way of phrasing it. And that never occurs to him. Nevermorphed is hosted, edited, and produced by Will Williams. Our theme music is The Chase by Joey Hendricks. Our title is by Eddie Feely, and this podcast would not exist without Mike Schubert's podcast, Potterless and the Newest Olympian. You can find his works at shub.es, that's shub.es. Nevermorphed is a proud member of Hug House Productions. You can find more at hughouse.productions and follow us on Tumblr at Nevermorphed. Get morphin'!